What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to CM Aviation. Hope you're on a fantastic day today. And today we have massive unboxing number 64 for you all. I hope all of you are excited for today's video. Welcome outside, everybody. We are improvising here as this box actually took 2 weeks to ship. Super excited to finally have it though, as we have a bunch of really cool aircraft in here. It's really a pretty miscellaneous set. There's some releases from over a year ago at this point, and there's some releases that are more recent. And I'm excited to get into this. I hope all of you are excited. There's some Gemini Jets, we have some NGs, and a couple of cool accessory pieces as well. So once again, I hope all of you are excited for this, and let me see if I can get this tape off right here. Kind of tough without a knife today, I'll be honest. I should have brought one, but it's okay. There we go. So let's just go ahead and rip off this tape here, everybody. And again, I hope all of you are excited for this. All right, let's just go ahead and get into it, everybody. Getting around the corner there we go. And let's go ahead and take a look, everybody. So we have a bunch of really cool aircraft in here. We're just gonna go one by one. I'll kind of surprise you all throughout and show you all kind of what we have, but it's gonna be fun today. So with that said, let's just go ahead and pick our first aircraft. And what better way to start than a regional jet? This is actually an older regional jet that I'm just now getting a chance to get right here. Very excited to have this aircraft, everybody. This is the Gemini Jets 1:400 scale American Eagle -8 Q100, and I appreciate Diecast Airplane Store boxing those up very well. So yeah, very excited to have this aircraft. I'm going to go ahead and lower the camera for you all here so you can see a little bit better. Here we go. And here it is, the American -8 Q100. So very excited to have this aircraft. This is going to be a cool addition to the collection. These obviously flew for a long time out of Charlotte and Philadelphia. So I think this is going to be a cool aircraft to add to the fleet. And with that being said, let's not waste any further time. Sun's just behind a small cloud right now, don't worry. And let's just go ahead and get started. Gemini Jets 25th anniversary livery, made for collectors by collectors. And you have the actual aircraft right here. Make sure we're in focus there. I think we're on autofocus, I think so. Yeah, you got the aircraft Bombardier -8 Q100, American Airlines logo, and here's the size of the boxes. Overall, all looking really strong. You got the back. This was a 2024 release. This was waiting for the right time to get it, and I got it on the Memorial Day sale there from Diecast Airplane Store. Here's the top, and then you have the actual aircraft inside itself. So let's not waste any further time, everybody. Let's just go ahead and take a look at the aircraft. So obviously a very small aircraft at that, not very much depth to it, but it's still a very powerful aircraft for its purpose. I was fortunate to get to spot a few of these over in Charlotte before their retirement. Not very many, but just a couple. I think passing through once, I got to see a few of these. So that was cool, and I think at some of the other hubs there as well. So I apologize, I gotta pack these boxes up. I'm a little bit on time crunch, so wanted to have all this ready so I can take it in diligently here when we complete this. But that's not the main focus right now. Right now, the main focus is this -8. This is also my backup tripod that I used with my camcorder, so I apologize if it's a little wobble. But nevertheless, there it is, the American Eagle -8 Q100. This is a cool aircraft, and I certainly think that's a great addition here for the collection. So with that being said, the lighting is back in perfect timing. Let's go ahead and zoom in, and then I can barely see the screen, so I apologize. Let me see if I can get that back in action. There we go. Let's just go ahead and take a look at the beautiful American -8 Q100. So here's the cockpit windows along with the windshield wipers and nose cone. I did get the Piedmont one a couple years ago. Very similar vibe here in regards to, you know, just how small it is. Nose landing gear looks really nice though, and you have the -8 titles right here in the L1 door. Obviously you have the American Eagle's titles printed on it. You can barely see them under the wing there, but once you prop it up right here, you can get a little bit better view. This honestly just looks kind of weird to look at, to be honest, in the new livery. I'm just so used to seeing these in US Airways and Continental and, you know, other airlines that flew these for a much longer period of time. So pretty fascinating right there for sure. But anyway, you got the propellers right there as well, and you have the wings, very good detail, and you have the actual engines and the cowlings on there too. All that looks really nice. You got the top of the wing with good detail there as well. And then the main landing gear, one of the most interesting parts of these aircraft with the intricate details and so forth. So it's definitely noteworthy in those aspects. But yeah, American Eagle once again. And then I think these held like 30 people or so. So you can see all the passenger windows back there for the respective criteria there. And then of course you got the back here with the main cargo door right there, and then the registration, which I can't see, someone pull it up. It's 808 X-ray, Echo X-ray. So pretty cool tail number right there. You have the actual American Eagle livery right there, so that's looking quite nice. And overall, that all came together very well. I apologize about the cloud. This Oklahoma weather this summer has been whack. I can't control it. There's only so much I can do. And I literally come out here and I have a picture even, so I'll put it on the screen for you all. It was beautiful, and then within 15 minutes this happens. So fortunately though, it should come off a little bit, but we still have a pretty good reflection here to work with. The right side of the aircraft is very nice as well, and you have another door right there as well, meet those FAA requirements, so that's pretty cool. Taking a look at the top of the aircraft, very good detail, overall looking pretty sharp, and definitely happy with how that came to fruition. Bottom of the aircraft got stand-hold Gemini Jets logo and all the pieces of the puzzle. So this is a very nice aircraft, certainly very glad to have it here in the fleet, and I think it's going to be a really good one here for the collection, so that's looking very nice. The next aircraft we're going to take a look at here was actually a clearance model. I'm always looking to get great value on my models. I think that's been a big emphasis of my collecting here the last several years. And with that, anytime I get an opportunity to do so, I'm absolutely going to do it. One great example of this year is going to be this Gemini Jets 1:400 scale China Eastern Airlines Airbus A320neo. So I don't have a China Eastern yet, so that's cool. But obviously, as you all know, I recently debuted my Coral Sea model airport, and this was $15. So why would I not take the chance to get a $15 aircraft that actually I can use in an airport? So yeah, always looking for any good deals, and this was definitely one of them. Gemini Jets made for collectors by collectors. Here's the aircraft A320neo. I think this was 2017 or so. This one, along with a couple of those other foreign narrow bodies, have been sitters here at retailers. This is actually a little bit newer than I thought. This is 2019, but yeah, it was like 15 bucks, and obviously when a retailer's trying to push it out, you know, that's exactly what happened. So again, I'm very excited to have this aircraft. I think it'll be a very good one here for the fleet. Certainly a cool looking aircraft, and it will do the job just fine and continue to expand that narrow body fleet. Top of the aircraft looking really good, and then you have the actual aircraft itself. I'm sure these are still active. My assumption there is that obviously, you know, not every one of them is going to be popular that Gemini Jets does, just because of the demographic of Gemini. You know, not as many Gemini collectors there in the China and Asia region, but you know, there's still some representation. But you know, it's great for collectors like us that can value it. You know, most people aren't going to buy that aircraft. Now I know the mold's not the prettiest and so on and so forth, but it was $15. I mean, I can't not take that up when, you know, I have a practical use for this aircraft. And again, this will do really well there in the airport. So I thought it was a great deal, and I'm certainly very excited to have it. So let me just line it up here. If the sun does make its way back out, which it very well could. I'm looking over across the street and I see some sun over there. So hopefully by the time that we are complete with this aircraft, at some point we'll get a better lighting look at it, especially with that contrast on the table. But there we go. We have the China Eastern Airlines Airbus A320neo by Gemini Jets. So very eager and excited to have this aircraft. I think it will be a really cool asset to the collection, and I'm really excited to have it. So with that being said, I'll be sure to get you a better view if and when the sun does make its return. Again, I apologize. I was already started, so I didn't really want to stop at this point in the process, but I'm confident at some point through this video, we will get some light at some point. It's crazy. In fact, I'll go ahead and take a before and after picture so y'all can kind of see what happens and how quickly it happens. The humidity and etched out rain is just made for some really weird conditions. So let's hope it all evens out by the time I get back from the internship at Charlotte. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at this aircraft. So got the cockpit windows here along with the nose cone. We've went over this nose cone probably 150 times, so I won't get too big into it, but we know kind of what to expect. But again, main purpose on this aircraft was being $15, so I can certainly live with it. Got the panel detail right here, and China Eastern is actually part of SkyTeam. This I don't think this gets recognized very often, but they are part of SkyTeam, so there's that logo. You have the antenna here, and then the L1 door. Printing on this aircraft certainly adequate, very good. Nose landing gear and a couple other details. Got some pitot tubes and whatnot up here on the front. And then of course in Chinese you have China Eastern, so that's the red portion, and then of course you have China Eastern in the English titles with the blue. I like the color contrast, I think that's cool, and it goes well with their logo. And then of course some first class up here, followed by economy. That Dash 8 had all economy, so that's why I didn't really talk about the product, but yeah, China Eastern definitely has some first class here, along with some main cabin etching, I'm sure. You get the panel detail there, and then of course the Neo engines, very similar story to the nose. I felt like it got better as time went on. This is not the greatest example of it, of course, by default, but you know, just kind of looking at it, and that's kind of how it all came together. But anyway, you have the wing right here, so you have, I'm not sure exactly what that says there in Chinese, but you have some sort of writing there, and you have the registration over here. Bravo 1211 is the tail number here. You have the very good logo right there on the sharklet on the inside and the outside, which looks pretty nice. I do have to say, Gemini's intricate, indentations on the wing are really cool. We got emergency wing exit and so forth. Main landing gear also pretty nicely done here, so can't complain about that too much. And then you have the back antenna right there. That also looks really nice. And then, of course, the registration, once again, Bravo 1211. One more antenna, no Wi-Fi box on this aircraft. And then, of course, you got the L2 door back here. And then you got the China Eastern logo here, which looks quite nice. So certainly happy with how all that came out. And you got the tail with the horizontal stabilizers back there as well. Right side of the aircraft's also quite nice. You got the baggage door right there in the front and the baggage door right there in the back as well. And I will provide better looks at this. What I'll do is I'll find some sort of way to hopefully get at least one good picture of all these, and then I'll put it on the screen for you all, hopefully by the time that I'm done filming this. But anyway, you got the foreign down there on the bottom left again, and the registration on the right, in the stand hole, and all the pieces. So overall, this is a very good looking aircraft. Man, these clouds are crazy. I'm sorry, everybody. I just can't help but observe, you know, what changes within 15 minutes. It's crazy. And then over here, where I took the previous picture, now it's blue over here. So it's funny, but hopefully within a short period of time, I'm very excited to continue to see if we can get some better light. But, you know, we still have some filming time here, so it is possible. Our next aircraft, let's see. I'm going to attempt to do aircraft that are, you know, not as substantial. This one was just kind of for fun. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a moment. And I actually have an accessory here that I can do as well in this meantime, so I think this will work out pretty good. So I always thought it was fascinating how NG did not get a stand hole on their 737 NG. Well, now they're finally making stands. So this is like $3, and I want to put my NG 737s on stands. They're nice models, and how could you not want to represent them in those ways? So here it is, the NG 737 stand, and I actually have a 737 NG that we'll be able to test this on here in a little bit. Now, I actually also got the 1-200 recently, and you'll see that in the upcoming unboxing, a 1-200 NG 737, which was really cool. So yeah, I really like the design, to be honest. I think it works out pretty good. So you have the actual stand right here itself, and they're so cheap, which is nice, and not necessarily cheaply made, just very cheap in general. But anyway, it goes like this. You put this on the back of the wing, and you put, let me see, I'm just make sure you all can get a good view of that. So you just put it here on the main part, if I can get it going there. It's a little easier on the 1-200. But yeah, you put it on the main part, and then you just slide it back. It's a really good design, and it's very firm. And then obviously you have the normal piece of the stand, which just goes pop, and then you pop it in. So yeah, very durable stand. It's not going to be falling off. I do think that NG did a good job with this design, and I applaud their efforts greatly. So NG, good job. Happy to see this, and overall this is looking quite nice. So very happy with the effort on that. Next up, we have the Cessna 172. This is the blue and white. This is runway 24. So if you've ever done any flight training or so forth, you've probably seen one of these. Your flight instructor used one. So that was kind of my memory with it, and I think it was like $8. But yeah, Darren does a good job on these aircraft. And I thought, you know, there might be a purpose for this at some point, whether I wanted to display it on my desk or whatever, you know. I might take it to work at some point, you know. I am an instrument rated pilot after all, so need to have some good flight training, you know, vibes in there. And, you know, anytime an opportunity presents itself, whether it's a China Eastern Airbus or a Darren Cessna, you definitely want to take advantage of it. So I'm gonna have to put the actual packaging over there. But yeah, packaging was pretty simple, but yeah, here it is, the Cessna 172. So yeah, you've probably seen instructors use this to represent thrust, drag, lift, drag, all the various aerodynamic stages of flight. And obviously you have the runway piece here, runway 24. It does break into 3 pieces if you like. So you have the first piece here, which you can use. Probably should have left it together. It looks a little bit better that way, but oh well, it's all right. And then you also have the threshold, which is obviously not very realistic, but it's fine. Does the job for this. And then the actual runway 24 piece itself. And then the Cessna, which is registered November 470 Echo Sierra. So overall, a nice looking piece here, and definitely excited to have it. And yeah, this is going to be cool. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to use it on yet, but I'm certainly very excited to have it here. So overall, again, a very good looking aircraft, and very excited to have it. So that will be very cool to get to use here in the near future. Okay, let's go to our next aircraft. We have a bunch of good ones next, so you can't really pick and choose at this point. I'll just start with the Euro Whites because the aircrafts with full liveries would look a little bit better. And I can always swing back around, hopefully, if we get a break here at some point. Again, I apologize. I will put the before and afters on there with timestamps. I can assure you that I was prepared and fully ready for this. But it's just funny because now the area that was cloudy when I initially came out here is the sunny part, which actually you can see kind of good right now. So there you go. There's the view. Next aircraft up, I'm sure some of you may be surprised that I got this, but Very similar story to Coral Sea. I'm always looking to expand New Forest as well. And I know the updates have been a little inconsistent on that airport. I apologize. I got a little behind on recording and then uploads and so forth. But that airport is not going anywhere. Just need to get the consistency ironed out. But this will be one aircraft that you'll be seeing debuting in that airport. This is the Row Ember ERJ190 E2. So there's a couple reasons for appeal on this, but the big one I'm sure you all can assume is I don't have an E190 E2 yet, just the E195. So I'm very excited to have it for that reason. And yeah, it's going to be cool to have some really unique representation in Europe. I mainly just have flag carriers like ITA, British Airways, Air France. So I thought that getting some of these more obscure carriers would be cool and fun to represent. I'm sure European collectors would really appreciate that. So that's exactly what we have right here with the Row Ember ERJ190 E2. So excited to have this aircraft, and I think it will represent pretty well as we start to move forward. A Gemini Jets made for collectors by collectors. Here's the CGI of the aircraft. Ember ER190 E2, Row titles. And here's the box. I like the green livery. I think it's pretty cool. So certainly happy about that. The back of the box, this was a 2024. So yeah, it's been out for a while. I remember seeing it at the airplane shops. I think maybe it was October. But yeah, this is a cool aircraft to have, and I think it's gonna be really good for the collection. So you have the actual criteria and the information itself, and then the aircraft itself, and it's pretty tiny. It appears that it does use the same plastic cradle as the 195 E2, just kind of judging by the length. But I could be wrong. So yeah, very excited to have yet another E2. I have that KLM, and I do want to get the Porter at some point, though I already think it's pretty tough to find. But yeah, excited to continue to expand a unique aspect of the collection. In this case, it's going to be the Row E190. So yeah, it looks like the sun's going to come back here, so very excited. This is why you gotta stay patient. You know, it always ends up working out. It hasn't quite got there yet, but it appears to me that we're gonna be seeing some light here in a moment. So I'll bring back that China Eastern here in a moment. But anyway, here it is, the Row Ember ERJ190 E2. So looking very good here with this aircraft. This is really sharp, and certainly very happy to get the feature in the collection today. I'm just gonna give it like 5 or 10 seconds because I feel like it's about to spark out here. But anyway, we will get to see a good view of it here in a moment regardless. Looks like we're gonna be in a favorable position. So anyway, this aircraft's looking real nice, and we will hopefully get some cooperation as we start to take a look at it. So with that said, we're not gonna waste any further time and go ahead and take a look at the Row Ember 190 E2. Cockpit windows here with the nose cone, and you got some sort of titles there. I can't say if that's Embraer or not. You got some sort of sticker there as well, pitot tubes, so forth here in the front. You got the nose landing gear here as well, looking quite nice. You got the L1 door. Here's the Wild Road sticker, and you got the Wild Road titles here. So I think these hold closer to, I think most of the 195s hold like 108, so I'm assuming this is somewhere in the 99 range. It is a cool aircraft. I like the, you know, most of these carriers will make the front of the fuselage shorter, like the Boeing 77-8 or the A220-100. Very similar vibe here in regards to, you know, how it's structured. So I think that's pretty cool. So that's what you have here in the front. And I don't know if they have any first class or not. I would assume probably not, but here's where it would be, and then economy. What I absolutely love about the E2 mold is these slashed out antennas. I talk about that in the Gemini video, and you know, it's really impressive what they've done with that. But great detail throughout here with nose landing gear and so forth, all the pieces. Sun's working, we're getting close, so that's exciting. You can kind of start to see that shadow coming in. Here is the exit door right here, and then you got the actual exit panel right there, and then the green Wild Row engines. These are looking really strong, so very happy about that. And yeah, really good design. I'll kind of show it from the front there. You can see that's looking really sharp. We're close to light. I'm seeing it. Here it comes. So that's looking, it's a little bit more tolerable now that you all can see the aircraft good with that lighting. Wings are super unique on the E2. You can just see the curvature there. It kind of looks like a 777LR is kind of what it reminds me of. Or honestly, no, a 764. I see 764 there. So that's really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and give you all the wide profile now that we actually have some good light to work with. So I know it's still coming in, but just want to give you all views there since we had the opportunity. So there it is. But yeah, really cool wings. And the landing gear are really good on these aircraft as well. They do a good job with the actual, you know, angle of them and so forth. So looking very nice. So yeah, there's a good look at it there with some light. And here's the back portion. Obviously the same distance there as the E195 E2. So it looks quite nice there, and all that came together very well. So certainly happy with the effort of that. And then the registration of this aircraft is Lima November Victor Echo Alpha. You have two more small antennas there, and of course you have the L2 door. And you have the green tail right there with the bird and then some mountains, I believe is what we're representing there. And you have the APU, horizontal stabilizers, and all the additional details as well. Right side of the aircraft, very similar vibe. You have a couple of baggage doors over here and a couple of the additional pieces, so all that came together very well. Let's take a look at the top and the bottom of the aircraft. Top of the aircraft looks pretty nice. I like the emergency exits, and then obviously the wings, once again, very 764-like, so pretty futuristic on such a small aircraft. Bottom, really good air inlet detail. You can see that there in the front, and I'll get a little bit better view here so you can see a little bit more. Stand hole, and all pieces to the puzzle. So very happy with how this aircraft came together. This is a really cool one, and certainly really excited to have it, and it'll be great to feature throughout. And yeah, that's looking really nice. The next aircraft we're going to feature is going to be an Airbus A220. And a big reason why I got this is because it is actually on the Coral Sea logo. So I thought it was only fair for that, but I also needed a normal livery Qantas aircraft. So we have the Qantas A220. Now, I really wanted to get a 737, and I still probably will, because Qantas will have a big presence at some point down the road. Normal livery aircraft here, but obviously this is kind of the best I can do at this moment. So Qantas Link A220, really cool, and I got it on the Coral Sea logo. ChatGPT did a great job. That's the truth. It's very impressive what it's capable of, so it makes awesome logos. So if you're looking for an airport logo, just ask ChatGPT to make it. Anyway, though, very happy with how that turned out and with how good it turned out. I could not get the Qantas A220. Gemini Jets made for collectors by collectors. Here's the aircraft itself, A220-300. You got Qantas. So yeah, Qantas is going to utilize Airbus heavily in the future. As you all may remember from a few years ago, they ordered the A220, the A321XLR, which are finally getting delivered as we speak, and the A350s, which should be getting pretty close. And it's officially licensed by Qantas as well. You have the 2024 release. So I know you all saw that I got the beautiful green livery, and I was super happy to get that, but I really wanted to expand and get the normal one as well. So this will pair up nicely and give me some good rotation. So yeah, the next Coral Sea updates will be really good there. Starting in September is when you'll see, I believe it's September. Yeah, September is when you'll start to see some of these new aircraft debut. So I have several 737 Maxes there as well, so I really wanted to expand to the A220 family and hopefully beyond that. So yeah, this is a great model. Qantas is a really awesome airline. Flew the A380 for Qantas, and yeah, Virgin Australia. I was attempting to get on Qantas 738, it just didn't work, unfortunately. So Jetstar was the best price. It was right there after New Year's, so the Qantas tickets to Brisbane were just unbearable. They were it was unrealistic. So apologize about the light, everybody. There's only so much I can do about it. We have the Qantas A220. This is the 300 here for Link. Super cool to have this. Missed 717 dearly, but this was a very good partial replacement. They used some other aircraft to replace it too. So yeah, Qantas still has a really cool fleet though. They still are flying the Dash 8s, which are awesome, and quite a cool variety of wide bodies like A330s, and excuse me, obviously you got the 787s as well. So here's the cockpit windows here along with the nose cone. You have some panel or 2-to-2 detail here in front. You have the actual Qantas sticker here as well, and you got the nose landing gear door. Here's the L1 door, and you got the Qantas Link titles right here as well, and you have the first class area up here on the front. Qantas uses these on quite a variety of routes. Okay, fortunately I'm looking at the camera. It actually doesn't look that bad. Obviously it looked better with the light, but there's only so much I can do about that right now. And you have the rest of premium economy here, and you got this antenna and two more antennas. Here's the emergency exit door, and then of course you got the emergency exit hatch right there, looking pretty strong, and the wing detail also looking quite nice, so happy to see that. There's the main landing gear right there. They also are looking pretty good, and you have the rest of it here. A really good printing detail, just phenomenal to see all the effort put in there, and that all came together really nicely, so happy with all of that. You got the rest of the passenger windows here, and you got the two antennas along with the Wi-Fi box, and then you got the beautiful, let's make sure it's in focus there, registration of Victor Hotel. I want to say it's Zulu X-Ray Bravo at the L2 door, and you got the Qantas A220 tail right there with the beautiful kangaroo. Qantas is so cool. They have so many premium products, and certainly a very nice carrier, very good flag carrier. Definitely Thompson American, or anybody of that sort of liking, but very good for one world standards. I think they're a very good carrier. You get the horizontal stabilizers and APU. I certainly would love to fly on their A350 or A321XLR one day. I was really wanting to fly on one of these, or again 737, but I went for some of the more obscure aircraft while I was there, which I think was the right choice. Got the baggage doors right there as well, and one in the back. Sun's making a little peek here, so let's see if we can get a nice little view of this, see if it makes a little bit better of a peek here. Top of the aircraft looks very nice, overall very strong. And don't forget about those winglets as well. Definitely want to highlight those kangaroos on the sharklets there as well, and should be right. No, it's just on the inside. Okay, cool. And the bottom of the aircraft, got the Qantas Link underbelly, a bunch of printing detail, very similar to E2. No physical air inlets, but that's very understandable. This was originally a Herp mold, so it's made quite a bit of progression, especially with that metal landing gear that they added as well. So yeah, it looks like this might be the best peak that we get here, but obviously just getting a good view for you all here, regardless of the case. So yeah, this is a really good aircraft. Definitely very glad to have it in the fleet. They did a good job on it, and come on, we're getting a decent break there. Just want to give you all the best view that we can there. But yeah, several Euro whites today. That's the third one, not including the Cessna. So yep, there we go. Pretty decent view there, just giving you all a nice look at what it looks like with decent light. We at least have a reflection, so that's the goal. So yeah, not bad. So just giving you all a good view of it here as we get ready for our next aircraft. But overall, very strong, and yeah, this is probably going to be the best that we're going to get here. Let's see if it breaks out pretty decent there. I'm just watching it closely. Not bad. Obviously not perfect, but certainly better than none. So yeah, just letting it kind of sit there and get the decent reflection on it, breaking through the clouds just a little bit. Looks pretty decent. I know it doesn't look too different, but just thought that I would get you all the best view that I can, and then I'll go ahead and get the next model as we work. We're down to 3 already. We went pretty efficiently through this unboxing. Not any jump cuts. It's been very raw today, just with the format and so forth. So yeah, let's go ahead and I'll bring that back along with the China Eastern and even the Rensro if we need to. But this one was a tough one to run down, man. This was tough. So this is the Southwest 737. I'm just going to go ahead and start unboxing it just in case the light sticks here. Southwest 737-700. I looked for this for several times, several collectible shows. It sold out immediately. Dallas it did, and I was trying to get good discounts from ADI along with the Chicago show. So I finally ordered it on Memorial Day sale. But yeah, I saw it several times. You know, it's one of those, if you know it's going to be popular, I was surprised at Dallas. I really did not think it was going to sell out so fast in Dallas. But anyway, I do give Gemini a bunch of credit on this aircraft. This is a really good release. Well overdue for sure. And they definitely needed to make this aircraft. It's been 10 years since they've done a Southwest Heart 737-700. This one obviously features the scimitars. The previous one was blended. So yeah, this is a good aircraft. I'm definitely glad to have it. Anytime that a normal Southwest gets done, definitely buy it because you're immediately making money. But yeah, it's been a couple years since NG's done theirs, and I will say the color on this one's better, but it's not perfect in my opinion. I think that it's a solid probably B-. It's, you know, tolerable, but it's also a little off. So I do think Panda did the best color, but again, it does reflect differently, and it is a tough one to get. So anyway, here we go. So very solid looking aircraft for what Gemini is capable of doing with it. I'm certainly pretty happy with the result here, and I'm certainly very glad to get to feature the aircraft here today. So without any further delay, I'm not going to waste any further time for y'all. And what I'll do is I'll keep the setup out here, and if we have a good break at light of some point after filming, I will make like separate clips and insert some pictures and so forth. So we're improvising, everybody. Improvising is important, and that is exactly what we're doing today. So thank you all for bearing with me through the process. But anyway, let's not waste any further time. I'm going to go ahead and bring this a little bit closer to the frame here and make sure that it's focused. It's kind of tough to see, so I apologize. And let's go ahead and get started with the aircraft. So here's the cockpit windows here along with the nose cone. Nose landing gear door, and then you got the L1 door. Tell me what you all think, but it seems like to me that that door is way far back. I might be just, let me take off the sunglasses. Man, that seems far back. I mean, I'm not complaining obviously, but that seems like that was way back. Let's take a look at the right side, see if it's identical. And yeah, it is identical. Maybe it's just because I'm so used to seeing stickers and other items in that area. Man, that seems far back. So we'll have to see. I do have another 737 here that we can compare it to in a moment, but that definitely caught my eye when looking at that. Nose landing gear door, and then you got the heart there for the Southwest titles. Looks nice, definitely good job on the font and the leveling, and the printing was good. So very happy with how that came out. There's the Southwest.com engines. Pretty good job on the CFMs. They're definitely more tolerable than the CFMs on the Airbus, so not too bad. You can definitely, It's mainly that nose is the big one. And then obviously this aircraft does feature a little bit of wing flex, granted better than previous 737-700s like that United. So it's definitely tolerable. Excuse me, I'll give you all a better look here in a moment. Pretty good job here on the wings. Got some good indentation detail. Granted, not as much as some of the newer molds, but that's to be expected. Here's the Scimitar winglet. This is a little bit of a pro for Gemini because it is better than the NG and Panda or the NG one's good, excuse me. The Panda one is pretty rough, so that's a better Scimitar. So I do like it for that reason. The Scimitar here is much better, which is weird that Panda didn't get that quite right. I don't know exactly what happened, but anyway. Yeah, so there's that. It's trying to focus in the wrong places. So let's see if I can get that fixed up a little bit. There we go. And then back to the fuselage here. You have the rest of the fuselage all economy. It's 143 seats right now, but will be 137 when the extra legroom cabin goes into effect. And by default, these aircraft are pretty special to me because I've flown so many of them at the main landing gear as well. I think like at least 50 or so. So, you know, there's a chance I've already flown this registration 943 Whiskey November, which I might be wrong, but I want to say that was the former California 1 special livery reg, or very similar area. So very cool. And then you have the actual tail right here. Good job on the color, by the way, on the yellow and the red. Those two were nailed spot on. And if I had some light, I could give you a whole better vantage point of what we feel about because the colors look darker by default when you have the no sunlight here. So as soon as we get some better light, which we might for this video, I hope so at some point, we will take another look here at this aircraft. But you can just tell by how it's printed on the box, it just seems a little dark, but not a huge deal. It's observations, right? You got the baggage door right there as well, and you got another one here in the back too. Let's take a look at the top and the bottom of the aircraft. Good job here on top. Love the emergency exits. Good printing. I like the Wi-Fi box detail there as well. That was nice. And the bottom of the aircraft, you got the stand hole, got the Gemini Jets Southwest Heart, and the main landing gear and other pieces as well. Overall, good aircraft. Certainly glad to have it. And I think this will fit very well into the collection. So certainly very excited to have that. Okay, the last two are NGs, two beautiful NGs. So very excited to have it. So I still think that I'm lacking I'm gonna have to verify, and I hope I didn't buy this aircraft twice by accident. I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I did this right, but I'm still lacking. I need to find somewhere to get the TWA hybrid that came out well over a year ago at this point, maybe even longer than that. That one has been, I about got it in this order, but it ended up going sold out, so that's why that's not in this order today. So I have one of the MD-80s here, and then at Airliners, I got the other one that came out in the winter set here for NG on these American MD-80s. So today I have working together for you all. I kind of like breaking it up. I wish they could have been together, but it's fine. And then you'll see it was a normal black nose, I'm pretty sure. It would be the rounded off, it's like, what's the reg of that? Was that 236 maybe? Somewhere in there. That one will be in the next massive unboxing, so stay tuned. But in this massive unboxing, we have working together on the American MD-80 with the black nose. Very excited to have this, and this will be a cool asset. So despite all these American MD-80 releases and my frustrations towards NG not doing aircraft, and I just made a video on that, so check it out. Aircraft that, you know, we really would like to see. I am appreciative of these as, you know, they're popular and, you know, they're certainly selling well. So that's big for NG, and it's been fun to collect them. So American Airlines MD-80 2 McDonnell doubles. This is the working together titles. Super 80. This is November 214 Alpha Alpha. So I believe that these were number 3, 4, and 5 that NG did, and then 6 and 7 are what they just did here in the June set. Here's the back of the box as well. So yeah, this will be cool to have. And once again, anytime you get an American MD-80, it's awesome. But even, I think my reaction really told the story in that release reaction. You know, as great as it is and as much as I appreciate it, there's so many aircraft that have not been done. Continental, Northwest, we got every airline in the book. But yeah, we do have the collector card in there as well, so go ahead and pull that out. But you know, we got to see aircraft that, you know, we haven't got yet first before we do these re-releases, in my opinion. So yeah, here it is, the American MD-80 working together. We also have new plastic as well on these NGs. It's a small piece behind the back of the aircraft that's been pretty universal. I'm sure that they're saving some money on that, and I think that's probably better. You know, that's not only does it, you know, keep it simpler, but I'm sure it protects the aircraft adequately. So as long as it's doing all those, then, you know, we're filling the void, so that's the good news. But yeah, the American MD-80 working together. So excited to have this aircraft as well. And I'll probably do like some sort of like haul video, or like I said, I'll do some sort of clip here to get better light on all these. So don't worry, I'll find some sort of way to get a shot here, hopefully before I leave, and it will be able to see these aircraft a little bit better. But let's talk about working together. So yeah, this is a cool aircraft as well. Certainly glad to put it together here, and I'm glad that NG is doing some cool aircraft like this. They just did flagship Tulsa, which was definitely not surprising. I kind of joked about that before they did it, but they did do that. So you bet that I'll be getting that aircraft as well. And it'll be really cool to make a full American fleet video here pretty soon. So yeah, excited about it all. But regardless of the case, let's not waste any time and take a look at this American Mad Dog. So here's the cockpit windows right here along the nose cone. You got the black nose here as well. Nose landing gear door. Very good detail on the NG MD-80 mold. That's why we would love to see all these different airlines, but certainly got to get all these different Americans. You know how much I love these, and I know many collectors do too. Here's the ledge piece, and you got the L1 door right here. Obviously, the American had a nice representation of first class here in the front, so that's exactly what you got. And you got American working together. Here's the antenna here, and then of course you get into main cabin etched here shortly thereafter for a good handful of rows, and then obviously we get into the main cabin. And then you get the working together titles. That's the big distinguisher on this particular aircraft. It's in a cursive font, and yeah, it looks pretty cool. So overall, came together nicely in NG. Put a nice bow on this aircraft for sure. Nice way to change it up a little bit. And again, next unboxing, we'll take a look at the counterpart from the same release. So working together, and then main cabin there, and you got the emergency wing exits there, good detail there, and you got the main landing gear here on the bottom as well. And the top of the aircraft looks very good too. You got the speed brakes, and all the detail came together very nicely. The rest of the passenger windows, neat 26A right now. What a great seat that is. And you got the L2 door, though I do have to say that Delta 717s have been the next best. They have been super fun to fly those. Here's the JT8Ds looking quite strong. Get a couple of different vantage points on those. And of course you got the bucket reversers, and you got the registration November 214 Alpha Alpha and the American Airlines tail overall coming together very nicely, and it looks really sharp. Horizontal stabilizers, and all that came together very nicely. Right side of the aircraft also looks really good. You got two baggage doors right there. You got one here in the back too, and overall that all came together nicely. Top of the aircraft looks very good. Happy with how that came together. In the bottom, you got the stand hole and the 3 baggage doors. So overall, very excited to have that aircraft, and it's looking quite strong. We've already messed around and got down to our last aircraft for today's video. Again, I apologize about the light, everybody. There's only so much I can do about this humidity and this weather. It certainly could be worse though. All my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody affected by all the natural disasters. Most recently, as of filming this, the Texas disasters there. Certainly feel for everybody there, and my problems certainly could be much worse. So I want to say that I feel for everybody there, and really hope that it gets better very soon for all my friends there and everybody beyond. It's certainly a devastating situation. So my problems are certainly minute compared to all the rest of what could be going on. But nevertheless, here we go for our final aircraft. I was off and on about getting this aircraft just because of how many Alaskas I have, but I eventually gave in because the price was good. And I saw it the other day actually too, so it ended up working out pretty good. So this is the Alaska Airlines Boeing 737-800. This is the Toontown special livery, so the newer Disney livery. Obviously, they've had several Disney livery iterations over their 737s, and this one's really cool. So very excited to have this. You got Goofy there on the tail, and you got Donald Duck, and all the various pieces here. So this is a cool one. So Alaska titles Boeing 737-800 Toontown. You got kind of this cartoon-like theme, obviously with Disney. So you got kind of the, you know, computer generated here, and you got all the Disney characters, Goofy, Donald Duck, and the rest. So looking strong there. So here's the side profiles of the box, and that's some sort of tag sticker. And the back of the aircraft, the box 58222 is the item number, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at the aircraft. So yeah, cool to see NG doing some aircraft that had been good as of late. This one I think was like a mid 24. So yeah, it's been out for it's not new by any means. This is interesting. I don't know what this is. There's a pen number on here. Oh, this must be the new character card. That's weird. Okay, so it's a warning, and it's talking about, let me see what it says. It just has the warnings on there, and then it's got the pen there for the serial number and a QC pass. That's really weird, huh? I guess that must be their new character card. That's really interesting. Okay. And you also get a Toontown model card here, which is a certification, so that's really cool. So yeah, nice. And there's the actual card itself. So I think that's pretty cool that NG did that for collectors. I like that. So yeah, that's cool. Okay. That said, we might get some light for the grand finale. That would be cool. And this would be a good aircraft to do so on. So yeah, getting a little bit of light here. Let's go. Let's finish out strong. And there's the back plastic piece as well. Again, that's pretty universal now at this point from all the NGs I've got. That's kind of what I've noticed. And I'm trying to get the plastic to make its way back in. I need to hurry because we have some pretty decent light right now. And I think we're gonna get some more here as the video starts to conclude. But here it is, the Alaska 737-800 Toontown Special Delivery. So very eager to have this aircraft. This is a good one, and the mold's awesome. And I'll just go ahead and show you how the stand works. We might as well. So here's how the stand works. You just take it and you put it on here like this. Make sure you all can see that decent. You just put it here on the back, and then you just slide the wings into the inserts here, and then boom. Just make sure that it's on there good. Sometimes it takes a moment to make sure that you get it good, but once you get it, it is really good. Now, obviously, it's not quite as nice compared to the Gemini, since you obviously have a plastic piece there, but it is a good alternative and certainly the best option that they can come up with for this moment. So, that said, let's not waste any further time. I'll go ahead and scoot it up just a little bit and take a look here at the aircraft. So, make sure that's focused, yeah. Cockpit windows here, and you got the Disneyland titles and a good piece here. Here's nose landing gear, nose landing gear door, L1 door, and the sticker here. And then, of course, for kind of the Disney theme, you got some clouds and so forth. Here's the Alaska billboard titles. At the first class up here, the Alaska 737-800. They're pretty cool to fly. I've flown just one. It was a pretty long flight, though, Portland to Austin. It was a good product. There was even 2 cabin services during it. That was a memorable part of that flight. You got the Economy Plus area coming in right here, and then you got the rest of the economy back here, and then you got the beautiful blue here before we start the green. And then obviously you got the kind of outdoor theme going on here. So you got Mickey's ears there and some cool pieces. Really good wing indentation, so I'll give you all top and bottom view here in a moment, so that's cool. Yeah, the rest of the wings, and then you got the scimitar winglets, which are quite nice here. You got a light blue on the outside, and then on the inside, as you all can see, you have the main green theme in design back there. When you zoom in too much, it's too much, but there you go. You can see there, and you got a cool logo on that as well. And then you got the main Toontown logo right there along with the Wi-Fi box, so that's pretty cool. And the rest of the aircraft, and then I'm forgetting that character's name in the pink. I don't want to say that's Minnie. It's not Mrs. Doug. I'm not sure what the proper name is, but I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about, so I apologize for blanking out there. I'm not a Disney nerd by any means, so. But yeah, no antenna back here, just the one main Wi-Fi box there, which is also a pretty interesting note. But you got Donald Duck there, registration's November 565 Alpha Sierra, so this must have replaced the other Disney livery because that registration seems very familiar. I think like 563 was the normal NG that they did, but 565 just, it's stuck in my head. So if anybody knows exactly what's going on, let me know, or I'll put some sort of edit on the screen for what we're doing with that. Anyways, Donald Duck there, and then of course you got Goofy here on the tail, looking sharp, and then I can't tell if that's some sort of building or what exactly they have here next to the other ears here. I'm not exactly sure, but some sort of cool building there and some cool pieces. And I think Goofy's carrying some sort of item there. Again, I'm not a Disney nerd, so I don't know all these details, but yeah, it's cool. Horizontal stabilized and all the pieces in the back, and then on the right side you have all the additional pieces and all of that coming together very well. I'll give you all the top and bottom. My SD card's about to run out of storage. Top of the aircraft looking very strong. Happy with how that came to be. And again, stands really holding up well. Bottom, you got the 2 antennas and all that came together looking very sharp. Looking good. Let's go ahead and set it up, everybody, and take a final look here as we conclude the video. Again, I apologize about the light, and of course it's going to make a push here to probably come out as I finish this up, but we'll have a good grand finale clip here, and I'll put some pictures through the screen so y'all can kind of see what these aircraft look like. So let's just go ahead and get into that.